I'm Michael.
And today we're checking out Boonlake.
From Capstone. Ooh.
Yes.
An Alexander Pfister game.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
You love Alexander Pfister.
Yeah.
I, too, love Alexander Pfister.
He has a lot of games I really enjoy. So he's one of the very few designers that I will always want to play whatever game he has coming out.
And
I think there's like 3 designers like that.
And this game reached a very high distinction.
It was my game of the year last year.
It was your game of 2021.
The first impression was amazing, and I had a great time with it. So
you played this, and I did not get a chance to play it until just a few days ago. You learned it at BGG-Con last year.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of a early sneak peek before you got it here, and
it was great.
it was great enough to make your very top, huh?
Well, I mean, it's one of those games where the stack of cards is like bigger than my fist here. It's like huge. And every card is different. And
I mean, that's a stack of cards.
It provides so much like crazy replay. I want to see all the cards. I want to get all the combos. I want to do it all.
Well, I mean, we were like all the way through the game, and I'm like drawing another card. It's like, I've never seen that before. It's like, this is awesome. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overhead, and I'll teach you guys how to set up and play this fantastic game.
Cool.
So we got the board turned sideways because on the horizontal orientation that we have on most of y'all's viewing devices,
it's not vertical.
It's not vertical, so we have to turn the board sideways because the board is very long, going up to down. And we wanted to make sure to squeeze everything in and get close enough in so you could see everything. So to set this up, we are going to put our 2-player starting tiles on all of the spaces marked for 2 players. If you're playing with 3 or 4 players, you'll also put things in the 3 and 4-player spots. We've got region markers for the 4 regions, player cubes on the card and money income spaces, and the victory point spaces. So, shuffled up all the project cards, that huge stack of cards, and each player is going to get 6 of them. You're going to have the action board with our 7 action tiles shuffled randomly. And everyone is going to get their player board with all their stuff on it. Each player starts with 3 of their, what are they called, inhabitants. 3 are placed on the ranch. You've got 5 that are just in your reserve, and you've got 2 of them on your board that you will take off at certain times. You've also got your 6 houses, your 4 settlements, and 5 cattle. Moo. Your boats, so a little bit of terminology here. These little canoe-looking pieces are called boats, and the one ship, the large ship, will go actually on the river, lake. I guess they call it Boonlake, but this really looks like a river. So the ship goes on the river, and depending on the player count, you're going to put it up in the corner or a little bit closer in. We also mix up all of the scoring tiles, and we each took 2 and chose 1. We've got it face down so nobody can see what we've chosen yet. We've also got one for the green and yellow players. Although they do not play, you always have 4 scoring tiles, no matter what the player count is. And Steph has the first player, I guess that's a lotus flower. So Steph is going to be going first. We've each chosen a production site. We have 4 different production sites. And I believe this is wood, loam, what is it? Rock, I guess, and
Cloth,
and steel, I believe, or iron or something. Let me see if I can find out what that is. Oh, it's on the front here. If I can find it. Yes, stone, loam, iron, and wood. So I have placed mine as iron, and hey, Steph has as well, so that's probably good for me. This game also, for those of you who enjoy a good solo experience, this game does play 1 player, so it plays 1 to 4 players. All right, over the course of the game, we're going to play this over 2 rounds. Now, that doesn't mean we're just going to get a few things to do. We're going to take turns back and forth until we have completed 2 rounds. In my eyes, it's more like 4 rounds because we're going to score and move. We're going to move along the river and we're going to score when we pass the first lock, and that's going to have an interim scoring. Then we're going to go along here until we get to the second lock, and then we're going to have another interim scoring. No matter where our ships are at this point, this is the halfway point of the game, everyone's going to reset their ships. Here for 1 to 2 players, here for 3 players, and way up here for 4 players. You see these little locks that are cut into the earth. We're going to reset our boats, and then we're going to start what is called round 2. When we hit the lock, we're going to have our 3rd interim scoring, and when someone passes the final lock, we're going to have our 4th interim scoring, and then final scoring will happen. So what does a turn look like? So Steph is going to go first. She's going to choose one of these 7 actions and carry it out.
Hey, Raiders!
Hey, thanks for raiding.
Thanks for raiding. We are just starting the rules for Boonlake.
So, let's say Steph chooses this action right here. She will put this down at the bottom, which is just barely off the screen. We may just put it to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Notice that there are numbers on the side and numbers right here. That's how many spaces that her ship can move after she's done everything on her action. So, what are these actions? First, most of these will say, let me put one up here. Most of these will say that you can play a card or discard the card for 2 coins. Now, notice that this has a sun on it. So there are some that say, this is a sunset card. There are some that have a sun on it. So we have a day and a sunset and a night one. So there's 2 of each type. And then there's one of them called the builder tile that doesn't have any card play at all. So when you play this action, you can either, like I say, play a card with a sun on it, one of these project cards, or you can discard it. So I could play this if I have 8 coins and have access to 2 wood and 3 loam. And then I'm going to get some kind of benefit. So immediately I would advance on the coin track. And if I discard 2 cards, I can get 9 victory points. That seems pretty good, right? Anything with a little lightning bolt on it means it has to happen immediately. Anything with a dark number on it like this means you are giving up that number of whatever resource. In this case, it's cards. And anything with a white number on it is usually stuff that you get. Now, whenever you pay a resource, you don't actually pay anything by getting rid of it. You just have to have access to it on your player board. So if you take a look here, notice my boats are on the spot with the wood. We have wood, loam, stone, and iron. At the moment, I am producing 2 wood, 1 for each of my boats, and 1 iron. I don't even have to have a boat there. If I were to upgrade this to a 2, which is the most you can upgrade it to, I would be producing 2 of that resource. You do not need to have one of your ships there in order to make that resource. You just always have this available. Now, anytime you want to move downstream, you can do that at any time. For example, if I needed to make a wood, a loam, and an iron, I could go here and I would be making one of each of those. If at a later time I wanted to make some stone, I would choose carefully which of these ships to move down, and I could move that down. Now, let's say later on I need to make some wood, but I don't have anything in the wood. You cannot go upstream for free. For 2 coins, you can move as many spaces upstream with one of your boats. So I could move all the way up for 2 coins, or I can move 1 space up, but it's still going to cost me 2 coins. So now You will have occasions where you will need 3 or even 4 of a resource, in which case you're going to have to pile up all of your boats to sort of get that resource, or you can have certain cards that will allow you to build things for cheaper. So remember, it's always free to go downstream, and it always costs money to go upstream. You also cannot produce a resource and mid paying for it, go down and collect yet another resource. You have to actually have it all ready to go, and then
as one payment.
One payment. And then after you have played a card, you can do the whoever's time it is to take their action is going to take this action on the left-hand side of the arrow. Afterwards, all players, including the player who played this, can take the everyone action portion of this. And I will explain each of these in detail so you guys know what it is. So the only exception to this is this tile right here. Notice that there is a double line on it. And you'll notice that it's everyone but the player that took this action. Yeah. So the player of the tile cannot take this half of the action. So, after you've played your card and you've chosen your action, then you're going to advance your ship along the river. Notice that there are spaces all along the river, and you're going to get whatever the river says. So if I go here, I'm going to get a card. If I stop in the harbor, I get nothing extra, a coin, a card. Here, I'm going to get a vase. Now, if I were to stop on the path right here and Steph were to move 4 spaces, she does not count my space. She would go 1, 2, 3, 4 and skip right over my spot. The only exception to that is if I am sitting in the harbor. As all the ships can be in a harbor at a time. So if she were to go 4 spaces, she would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Momentarily being in the harbor with me. If she were to only go 2, she would just be sitting right alongside
That
me.
would be a poor play.
Yeah, because there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing.
Every other space has something in it. So.
Yeah, and every single other space has something in it.
Yeah.
So, some of them will give you a choice of resource. You can either upgrade one of your industries, either adding a single or turning a single into a double production by flipping it over. Really or you can take a vase. The vase is used for nothing more than payment for certain.
Hard to do cards.
Very hard.
But generally worth it if you can get it.
Because there's no way to produce the vases other than picking them up along the river.
You can produce them actually there. Yeah, sure.
Whenever you land on a spot with a guy on it, you will get one of the guys that you have from the supply, provided you have guys in the supply. At the end of the game, these can be really hard to get hold of, and I will explain that a little bit as you get guys that are out on the board and on these scoring areas. Finally, let's say that Steph were to take this one. She would then push these action strips together after she's done her moves down the river. And that way, these are going to keep cycling up to the top. The actions toward the top are going to let you move your ship farther. The actions toward the bottom have been more recently used and will also let you move down the river just a small ways. Plus, you're going to lose victory points if you were to take the bottom 2 tiles. You're going to lose 2 victory points for the next to last tile and lose 3 victory points for the bottom tile. And it may be that, she might take the action I want. If I really want that action, I've got to make sure I really want to spend 3 victory points for it. This is not covered in the rules, but this has been confirmed. Yes, you can go backward on the scoring track. So just if you don't think you have enough money, enough victory points to pay for it, yeah, you can go in the hole on victory points. That is
no problem.
No problem. So, I'm not. I hope you're keeping track of the chat. I have not had a chance to even look.
Nope, you're fine.
So, there are a lot of different other project cards. Some of them will say you get whatever effect at the end of the game. You'll have some of them that are permanent effects. They'll have like a little double arrow on it. And those are effects that will take place throughout the whole game. For example, every time you place a cattle, you can get +2 gold. And so you use that quite a bit on the game that we were playing because you really wanted to get cattle on the board.
No, I mean, I didn't end up playing that.
You did, yeah. So let's take a look at some of these actions. This bottom action here is, let me go to the spot here. This is for region scoring. You can play a sunset card or discard one. Then you're going to choose one of the 4 regions here. We have Boonlake. These are all color-coded. Boonlake in the middle. Unknown up at the top in the yellow. Down in the orange, we have Southern. In the gray area, we have New Hope. You are going to choose one of those 4 regions that does not have their reward covered up on one of those region markers. And you're going to cover up the region, get that number of points. In the other regions, every player is going to score coins based on their presence in that area. And what a presence is having a guy out on a hex, or a house, or an upgrade to that is a... So it starts out as a guy, which gets upgraded to a house, which gets upgraded to a settlement, which does not get upgraded to a cattle, but cattle also will provide you presents. So every one of those will give you presents and thereby give you a coin. So every player, including the active player, will get this benefit.
In the other regions.
In the other 3 regions.
Yeah.
Not the one that just got scored. So one of my favorite tricks is to score the region that she has all of her presents in. And then we score all the other regions for coins. Now there is a lever that you can these are levers down here. There are levers you can activate to also get points for those regions, but we will talk about that here in a minute when we talk about levers. So, boom shakalaka, Panic says. Let's see, we've got this nighttime tile here. This is, I want to make sure to get the right name for some of this. This is the settle action. After playing your nighttime card, you can develop once or upgrade once. So for developing, what you're going to do is you are going to place one of your guys out on the board in one of these plots. And there is going to be a reward or a cost. Remember what I said, all the white numbers is stuff that you will get. So the first player to place on this tile will get 1 coin. The second player to place on this tile will get nothing but a dude on the map. If you will hand me that 12. The first person to place here will pay 12 coins and immediately get 3 pushes on the gold or the card track, income track. And that's really good if you want to make sure that you keep getting in coins or cards.
It's not bad.
That's it. Or and the second person will have to pay 16 for the same benefit. So there's not always 2 on a tile, but a lot of times there will be 2. Like you can see, there's only 1 on this one. That'll give you a card, and that's about it. We have a stack of tiles here. This is called the mound.
A mound of
and
tiles.
There are also cattle pastures that are green on both sides. Once those are gone, though, you can no longer put any more cattle pastures out. So after you have developed once or upgraded once, there's a little green arrow here. I know it doesn't show on the green screen, but that is a green arrow going upward. Then every player, including you, can develop once or upgrade once, or play any card, no matter what the symbol is on it, or discard any card to get 2 coins. So what does upgrade look like? In order to, let me get one of these. Hopefully I can actually show this off with our camera, our overhead here. If you were to upgrade, you can spend an extra guy off of your ranch and replace a guy on the board with a house. And the house is going to come from your first row here. Notice that it's going to expose 2 coins here. Once you have cleared these 2 houses for 2 coins each, this is 2 coin income, not immediate. You don't get this immediately. You get it at the end of each interim scoring. Notice you're going to start opening up victory points afterwards, and you will remove these 1 row at a time. Hello, Arliel. To upgrade a house, you can spend 2 of your guys and upgrade the house to a settlement. Now, notice if you put 2 settlements in the same region, 2 of any settlements or your settlements? I think your settlement.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you 5 victory points to do that. Also, whenever you get down into the last few settlements, you're going to have to pay an additional guy or 4 victory points for each of these right there. Is that correct?
Yep.
So, and that's for the cattle as well, which we're about to talk about. This is not one that you will upgrade. You won't upgrade your settlements to a cow. What you will do is whenever you are going to place cattle on, and actually let's go ahead and talk about that action. Whenever you use this action, this is called the cattle breeding action. After you play your daytime card, you can place one of those cattle lands. I know it's probably not going to show up on the green screen. Nope, it does not. The land with the little green land with the cows on it. You get to place one on the board, and you will get whatever is on that space. Notice that some of these will give you instant industry upgrades. Some of them will give you coins, some will give you people, etc. Some of these spots are adjacent by bridges. You must place whatever you build adjacent to what is already on the map. Then, starting with the active player, they can place one cattle piece anywhere on the map, not just on the tile that was placed. The first person to place, it's going to cost 1 guy. The second cattle to be placed on that same hex, no matter who owns that cattle, is going to cost you 2 guys, and 3 and 4.
Up to max 4.
Up to max 4. Now, every time you place, every time you place next to a house, the person who placed the cattle, is the person who placed the cattle or the person who owns the house?
You get $2 for the house.
You get $2 for every house adjacent to the cattle. So, now eventually, the scoring opportunities will get to where you're going to get a coin every income for your cattle, but you're going to get a victory point for every settlement that your cow is next to. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. And remember that going across bridges, that still counts for adjacency.
Did you explain the 3?
The 3.
So for placing a settlement.
I did forget on the placing the settlement.
It's really easy to forget this.
I did say that it was 2 guys to upgrade to a settlement, but I did not mention that, and it's right over here, this little bitty thing right here. You have to have 3 presence of any, not you, but there has to be 3 presences. Remember, a presence is either a guy, which I guess they call an inhabitant.
Any piece of wood.
Basically any piece of wood. One of the guys, a house, a settlement, or another cattle. Any of that will count towards.
You need 3 things before upgrading.
Yes, and not necessarily you need 3 things, right, but there needs to be 3 of any player stuff before you can upgrade that to a settlement.
Yeah, really easy to forget that.
Yes, it is. So let's see what else we have here. We'll just shuffle these up again. We've got the Pioneer action, where you are going to place 2 tiles, one after the other, and it's called Explore Twice. And you're going to take a tile from the mound, and you are going to place it out on the board. And obviously, if you're going to place it on the hex, you're going to get whatever the hex has on it. Let me get the thing I dropped. And you're going to do that twice. And then you're going to develop once or upgrade once. After that, everybody else, not you, is going to get 2 cards and can then play a card of any type or discard for 2 coins. Oh, let's see. Which have I not covered yet? I've covered that. Haven't covered this. This is the hire action. So after playing your nighttime card, you will get a guy from the supply, and then you can explore once. After that, as many times as you want, you can discard 3 coins to get another guy from the supply. And this is everybody. Or you can spend 3 coins to get a guy from the supply. You cannot spend 2 coins and a card, or 2 cards and a coin. It has to be 3 of one or 3 of the other.
Hey, Shano.
Hey, Shano. This is a little interesting thing. After you, this is called the the progress action. After you've played your sunset card, you can then modernize once. Now, what is modernization? All of these spots over here on the side of your player board, you can place one of these levers. Now, Steph calls these doors. So if you hear her say door, that's what she means.
I'm going to try really hard.
It's really a lever.
It looks like a door.
It does look like a door. So you're going to place a door on one of these spaces. Notice that there is a cost with each one of these, and you will have to pay that cost in order to get whatever benefit is underneath. Now, each of these benefits can be used once per interim scoring. Every interim scoring, we're going to reset this. And that's why I sort of think it's more like 4 rounds and not 2 rounds. It's really 4 rounds.
It's really 4, yeah.
So,
I know. I'm trying really hard to remember to say lever, okay? I'm going to try.
Shanna says the rulebook says lever. It doesn't say level. So anytime you want to use one of these levers, you carry out what it says on it, and then you move the lever down. Hey, look, that's pretty cool. And then when interim scoring comes up, we're going to reset each of these and maybe get victory points on it. I will talk about that here in a bit. Hey, what do these levers do? Let's take a look at them, because some of them can be really interesting. It's going to be hard for me to get the ones on top of the board, but I'm going to do my best here. Anytime you could take an alternate action, meaning everybody else can take an action, you can give that up in order to get a vase or sell a vase for 6. Again, anytime there's an everyone else action, you can give up that everybody else action in order to modernize once. Of course, you have to have the money to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the giving up the everyone action in order to upgrade once. Moving on to the next one. Let me get these. Some of these Steph is much more familiar with than I am, because I didn't do a lot of levers and she did it all day long. Every time you would be allowed to play a card or discard it to get 2 coins, and you forego this, you're going to get a coin for every production site that you have. So if I've got all of these maxed at 2 times, 2 times, 2 times, and 2 times, or well, I guess they call it +2.
Sure.
You would have $8
for activating that.
8 power of facilities, which would give you $8.
It's really good.
Really good. Really good return on investment, considering this thing only costs 5. So it depends on how often
you can get it done.
You do that. Yeah. Again, whenever you can play a card and you forego it, you are going to get 3 coins. And you can use this also if you are playing at the builder action or at interim scoring. Hey, let's take a look real quick at that builder action. It's pretty simple. You're going to get 3 coins. You're going to get to play a card, not discard a card. Notice you only have the down arrow, which means play a card. Yep. The up arrow means, as you can see over here, means get 2 coins for discarding. Or you can draw 2 cards, and then everybody else can play 1 card or discard for 2 coins. That's the last action we hadn't talked about. I figured, hey, let's go ahead and knock that out. Let's see, what else do we have over here? This is the one I was talking about We got a little bit of glare from the camera. I'll try to turn it a little bit. Whenever we're doing a region scoring, remember when I said that everyone is going to get coins on every region except for the one that got scored? This also gives victory points for each presence in those 3 regions. So that's sort of handy. And remember, you have to use the lever, so you can't do this over and over and over, just once per interim scoring. Moving on to the next row, you may immediately move 1 boat upstream on your player board for $0. On this one, during an effect that allows you to upgrade a house to a settlement, you can use this to give up 1 inhabitant less. In addition, those presences that you need is also decreased by 1. Now notice this does not help you build houses, just settlements. So it turns 2 people required into 1 person and 3 presences required down to 2 presences.
In our game.
Yes, you did.
It's really good.
You can't tell this is green, but it is. There's a red one here, a green one here, and the blue one here, and the gray one here. Those are the only ones that are really color-coded. For this one, whenever you place a building tile, which could also be a castle pasture, the castle pastures are also considered building tiles. Those are those tiles that are on the mound here. Whenever you place one on the game board, you can move that lever down to get an inhabitant. Poof, just comes from the supply, just like that. The bottom 3, whenever you use this lever, you can pay 1 resource less for something. And then that's how you can get some of those really hard to build cards, or 2 coins or 2 cards. Poof, just like that.
Yeah.
Whenever you use this lever, you may, whenever you want to play a card, reduce its resource cost by 1 resource and take 5 coins.
Yep.
And last but not least, you can discard 2 cards to get 1 inhabitant and 3 victory points. So the levers do a lot of really interesting things.
Yeah.
So
you can also talk about that if you want.
That is end of game?
Yep.
Yeah, that's end of game. I'll talk about that at end of game. Just know that the levers are going to give you some good end game scoring points that Steph really racked up on. But actually, she didn't even need, because I was really so far behind.
Only 20 points.
I was so super far behind.
Only 20 points out of 220.
So 10% behind.
Not bad.
All right, so I did mention interim scoring. Whenever one of the boats, any person's boat, passes the first lock, we're going to pause and we're going to carry out interim scoring. After interim scoring, the boats stay where they are on the first and third interim scoring, and we just continue on from there. After the second interim scoring, remember I said everyone is going to reset. After the 4th interim scoring, that's the only one that's really different, is that everyone is going, we're going to finish up the rest of the round, a set of turns, I guess. You can't really use the word round. But like since Steph started, if she ends the game or triggers the end of the game by passing that last lock, I will get 1 more action.
Yeah.
If I trigger the end of the game, we are basically done. We do interim scoring and then final scoring. So, hey, let's talk about interim scoring. You can follow along on this right here. First thing we're going to do is, the rulebook says once or better twice, and I've seen 2 or 3 threads on this in the rulebook that it's like, what do they mean once or better twice? So what they mean is 2 times you can build and you can build or upgrade, and you can do this 2 times. You could play 2 cards, you could upgrade 2 things, or you could play 1 card and upgrade 1 thing. So, then we are going to, all players must score 1 of those 4 scoring tiles. Let me get an example of what these scoring tiles look like. There are 2 halves to these scoring tiles. One side is what you can do during the game if you have these resources, and you can only score this. You can only do this top thing once per game, and it's going to take one of your guys that's going to sit on the spot of your color on the game board here. You'll notice there are 4 spots, 1 of each color. If you've got 13 coins and 2 loam and 3 iron, you're going to get 2 guys and 8 victory points and a push on that card track. The bottom half is what we're talking about here for the interim scoring, where you are going to check to see if you meet this condition, you will score 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 victory points. In the first interim scoring, you're going to place it on your one side, and you're wanting to check on this right here. This is a little bit harder to describe. Let me do one that's a little bit easier to talk about. Let's talk about this one. Remember, we have the coins track and the card track. In order to score this, the one of these tracks that is the furthest behind, if it's on the 0 space, hey, that's pretty easy. We start out on the 0 space, right? If you played your scoring tile here, you have to have your tile, one of your tracks on the 0 space. Let's say that you don't score this one and you wait till the next scoring. You are going to need both of yours advance to at least the 1 spot. That's also not too hard, and you will get 2 points for it. If you wait a little bit longer, your minimum has to be at the 3. You wait a little bit until the end of the game, you need to have the minimum of
that actually seems
4.
relatively easy.
It does seem easy.
Because you're going to want to push up these tracks anyway.
And remember, you're only going to score each of these once. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Oh, but wait. If it's your own that you place down, notice that it's got green times 2, yellow times 2, red times 2, blue times 2. If it's your own, you're going to score double. So you're probably going to want to do yours at the end of the game and get 4 points times 2. So, yeah, the time roller saying game took 5 hours with 3 people. AP. Yes, it does. There can be quite a bit of AP, and I'm going to try to mitigate my own AP as much as possible. Now, remember, you can only score these scoring tiles once. You must score each scoring tile once
time
in the game.
Whether you get negative points or positive points.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Hey, what if you don't meet any of them? Or you do meet one, but you want to save it till later? It is a perfectly valid strategy to put your low number 1, and you are not going to gain those points. You are going to lose those points.
Yeah.
So, after we do the scoring tile scoring, we then get our income pictured by this wagon. There are 3 different parts to this. You're going to get our income based on the 2 tracks, your coins and card tracks. Notice that once you get up here, your coins start going down a little bit, but your victory points goes up. Same thing with the cards. You're up to 3 cards, and it drops to 2 and 1, but you're going to get a lot of victory points as that advances. The second thing you're going to get is coins and victory points for all of your stuff you've vacated on your board. Now, as soon as you vacated the top row, you have opened up the spot for this settler. He just goes off into the supply.
No, it goes right on your board.
Oh, he does go on your board.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. He goes on your board. I stand corrected. But then it's still one more guy you've got in your supply once you've spent him for something.
Oh, yeah.
Once you've cleared out the second row, you can then put your second one out. So put these little guys back. And there are no settlements on that top row, so that makes that not too hard to clear out. Hey, Canuck. After, let's see, one more bit of income, you can do cattle scoring. That's pretty much on the board. So basically, these 2 tracks and then everything on the board. At the last interim scoring, you're only going to get victory points because coins are not worth anything and cards are not worth anything.
Sadly.
Then you're going to reset all of your levers. The way the rulebook says is to reset your levers, then score a victory point for every lever you did not move up, that you did not need to move up. Don't do it this way. First, count your unused levers. Give yourself those victory points, then reset all your levers.
I actually do that during the income. I'm like, okay, I get points from this, and how many unused.
And how many
things.
unused.
That just makes it easier.
Yes, it does. It really does. So just keep that in mind. It's inevitable someone's going to reset all their stuff and then go, oh, how many did I not use before?
Yeah.
So remember, every time you use one of these, make sure it's worth at least a point, because it's worth a point to you unused. Finally, we are going to then pull all of our little region markers off in order to make these once again available. Hey, interim scoring is done. We're going to do that 4 times, and then final scoring is going to happen. For final scoring, you can follow along down here. If you have 4 to 6 levers on your player board, you're going to get 2 victory points per lever. If you have 7 or more, or if your name is Steph, you're going to earn 3 victory points per lever on your board. So if you have 7 levers on your board, hey, 21 victory points. So that's a big jump from that 6th lever, which you'll get 12 points for, to that 7th lever gives you another 9 points for that. It's really worth it.
But it's not exactly easy to do.
It's not easy. So, you have to sort of focus on it.
Yeah.
Then you are going to get any victory points for your cards that have the end of game symbol on it, which is sort of like it's like an arrow with a line. So anytime you see that symbol, it looks just like that. Then that's an end of game scoring card. Finally, for each recess in the 3rd tier, down here, let me pull up this board here. For every little spot you have in this 3rd tier that is clear and open, you're going to get 2 points for each of these. For everyone in this next to last tier, 4 points each. For these 2, 6 points each. Coins worth nothing, cards worth nothing. And in the case of the tie, what's the tiebreaker? You don't know this one. Kiss your sister, all players win. So
no.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible.
What?
So
it should be like most cards played or something, or fewest cards played. Either one. So
it's really not all that difficult. All of the magic happens with these action tiles and a little
cards.
bit with a lot with the cards and a little bit with the levers too. So knowing what those do, I think, is the most important thing in this game. So we are about to start our playthrough where we're going to turn up all of these tiles and see what we've got going on and play through it. So if you want to watch the playthrough, then you can stick with us, and we'll be right back. And
the next video.
Yeah, if you're watching this after the fact, hey, check out our playthrough video and see how we do. See if Steph beats me yet again.
That's the plan.
Check it out. Boonlake from Capstone Games, 1 to 4 players. It says 40 minutes per player. So this can vary. The first time you play, it's going to take a while as you are figuring out, hey, what's this cool card? What's this cool card? I can't do this from where I am. What do I do? There's going to be quite a bit of that, but it's got a lot of really fun interactions. So check it out. Boonlake from Capstone. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.